talking. Hey. Hey. Hey.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a Diddy reading, also known as Sean Combs, and this will be my relic for it. It's the only thing I could find. No rules here. First, we're just going to draw a card for Diddy. Reverse Two of Swords, which I recently got for Ghislaine Maxwell, actually. It's kind of a trap between a rock and a hard place kind of card. Makes sense. He is being considered for a pardon. And so the way I looked at it is like, okay, he's probably some kind of intelligence asset. As far as I know, he is working for the feds. This is according to Kanye and probably other sources. You know, I didn't look too deeply into this. So, but it makes sense, right? Reversed or regular. This is basically like a card where you're in a difficult situation, you don't know what to choose. A way to look at reversed versus regular is that the reverse is just more confusing. You're still not sure what to do. There may not really be a choice to make. It may just be that whatever the choice is out of your hands. Which is interesting because I would have assumed that Diddy was in complete control or was in some kind of control, but maybe not. When it comes to these feds and intelligence assets, they are only allowed. There's an Assassin's Creed saying, nothing is... Well, I don't remember what the phrase is. Something about everything is permitted. And that is a way to look at it. Diddy is not the man in charge here. So what I'm going to want to do is ask a nice past, present, future. That has been a pretty good way of getting some ideas about these folks in the past. And the present. And hopefully and in the future. But I will just do a nice past, present, future spread. For the past, Nine of Wands. For the present, the Emperor. And for the future, Page of Pentacles. Nine of Wands is a resilience and courage type of card. You're being tested right now. You're receiving quite a lot of scary stimuli. If you are taking LSD for the first time, that would be a massive test of resilience. We could look at this sort of like Diddy being arrested. He's being tested on how much he can believe in himself. And he seemed always like, he seems sort of like a Kanye type, where he's not very much afraid of what the end results are going to be. And I think that has definitely worked in his favor. Now for the present, this is a establishment card, the rulers, the leaders, the people in charge. In Ghislaine Maxwell, I kind of came to the terms that the Emperor represented Donald Trump. And very funny, I mean, the whole reason why I wanted to do this reading is because Donald Trump is offering or potentially going to pardon Diddy. So in many ways, the Emperor for Diddy's present can be seen as a representation of his submission to the powers that be. And then for the Page of Pentacles, it's kind of a good sign for him. You're going to be getting a lot of financial opportunities. A lot of your goals are probably going to be manifested. Going to get better at what you do. Everything is going to do better. So like this is a good sign for Diddy, really. Everything seems to just kind of be going his way. So the next thing I think I'm going to want to ask about is Donald Trump. What kind of relationship or connection, or how can we see Donald Trump with Diddy? I mean, we could assume the Emperor was a good representation of Trump. But I wonder if there's other things to consider, or you know, like, just, yeah, what's up with Donald Trump and Diddy? Look at the Queen of Pentacles as like your mom who is very rich and giving you a lot of money. The Queen is the nurturing feminine, and the Pentacles is materialism, finance, things of that nature. It could be that Donald Trump is financially nurturing Diddy, or it could be that because of the interest of finance, Donald Trump is going to nurture Diddy. There's something going on. That's very interesting. I do want to get some clarification on this. How should we look at Diddy in this relationship, and then how do we look at Donald Trump? Ooh, both of them are cups, and high cups as well. First, we'll start off with the reverse Queen of Cups, which, when it's reverse, it's more of like looking inward. Like, I think Diddy is mostly interested in himself, mostly interested in his own power, his own interests. However, the relationship is still necessary in order for that, not a toxic relationship, a sort of relationship that's beneficial to him, and that's what maintains it. As for Ten of Cups, this is a very interesting one because Ten of Cups kind of represents unity. It would be like a very wonderful, beautiful relationship. Donald Trump seems to have a lot of affinity for Diddy. I'm very curious where that is actually going. Why does Donald Trump, when it comes to Diddy, have a lot of love for him? Let's see. I mean, what is the connection there? Could we say that it is financial, or would we look at it more as like strategic, or is it just pure love? Like, is it just a very close relationship between the two? Interesting. Let's see. Okay. We don't have to assume any kind of love, like not familial love, not relationship love. The King of Swords is this powerful force with a lot of brain power. Maybe Diddy knows a lot of things. Maybe Trump is aware of Diddy's knowledge. So this love, maybe what I'm assuming is love, is more just deep connection. A connection so deep that it requires absolute devotion to some degree. It doesn't mean it applies to Diddy completely. It seems to apply more to Trump, obviously. It could be seen as strategic for sure, because if Diddy has a lot of knowledge about a lot of things, it could even tie into the Epstein stuff. So I am curious. Okay, let's see if there's a connection to Epstein. How does Epstein relate to all of this, if at all? Oh, something fell out. Reverse Temperance. Temperance is a card about, balance and being able to successfully mix two things. Reverse Temperance, however, is imbalance. So is it telling me that Epstein's barely connected, if at all? Maybe the only connection is just the concept of trafficking? Or is there something deeper here? What would be, was it the death of Epstein causing a sort of imbalance in the world? And in many ways, Diddy is hoping to take. When the French Connection was dissolved, the French Connection was the heroin trade in the 60s. The war on drugs basically disrupted the French Connection. The dissolving of the French Connection led to anarchy in the drug trade. And that meant a lot of other people were attempting to become the next powerful drug dealer. And it led to a lot of bloodshed, a lot of different kinds of drugs on the street that people had no idea what was going on. Naturally, what happens when you attempt to disrupt the flow of things, even if it's something that's evil? It leads to a lot of other evil people trying to become the next head honcho. So is that what's going on? Let's ask, because we can even see that Page of Pentacles drawing as sort of like a part of this taking advantage of the imbalance of power. So is that the case? I mean, is Diddy attempting to take Epstein's spot? Huh. I mean, that tells me Sort of, yes. The King of Wands is an entrepreneur, not in the same way. I mean, the King of Pentacles and the King of Wands, the slight difference being I was born to do this type of thing. I mean, Nikola Tesla came up with the Tesla coil, but he's not the one who became rich off of what he was able to discover. So we look at the King of Wands not just as a successful businessman. We look at the King of Wands as like a successful ideas guy. I can see Diddy just making moves and trying to fill that gap that was created by Epstein. And if he is an intelligence asset, that's also part of the gap that Epstein filled. So that's what I'm getting. Let's have a brief summary of what we've drawn so far. I think Donald Trump sees Diddy as a necessary component of a network that was disrupted when Epstein was arrested and then killed. And Ghislaine Maxwell, however she's connected to it, I mean, she connects a lot of the intelligence to it. So hard to say if Ghislaine Maxwell is also connected to Diddy. Is there a connection with Ghislaine Maxwell that we should consider? The Six of Pentacles, it could be seen as like, oh, you're a nice guy, you're a charitable person, you're sharing what you have, you're sharing your money to help people. It's a charity card. So Ghislaine Maxwell and Diddy, they're sharing their assets. They're sharing to some degree their wealth, their assets, their material conditions. I mean, we're talking about large-scale trafficking networks. In Diddy's case, is also very tightly related with the music industry, while with Ghislaine, it's more tightly related with the global intelligence and global trade industry. So Diddy and Ghislaine have probably rubbed shoulders plenty of times in some way or another. Okay, so I think we got most of the answers I got way more answers than I thought I was going to get. I don't really want to ask too much about occult connections, and I'm trying to develop better protection for myself before I start delving into occult connections with these high-level people. I know, a bit cowardly, but I will as soon as I feel like I'm adequately defended, at least in a spiritual sense. I can't even speak to the literal physical sense. I mean, this is information I'm putting out there. Assumingly, a lot of people just don't watch these videos, and that is the defense that they have. But to some degree, I still kind of... That reverse knight of... what was it? Reverse knight of swords or reverse knight of something. I'll have to look back. That felt like a warning for me when it came to the occult question. So I'm going to take that seriously. But I am going to draw a card just to wrap things up. What should we take from this? The Tower. Well, that's actually pretty nice. That's a little different from what I had been getting before. I mean, typically, like I had said in my Ghislaine video, I've been receiving cards that have been telling me to like embrace your people, whatever. But now we got a Tower card. And a tower is all about the collapse of everything as we know it. On the card itself, there is references to the NSA. The NSA has so much information. And it's all in these large servers that are buried underground. They collect all the data that is transmitted. Everything you speak into a microphone that's connected to the internet, all webcam activity. Your cell phone is constantly recording what you're saying, regardless of whether you're using it or not. If the microphone can pick up what you're saying, it is being recorded and being sent to an NSA server. I don't know if that has to do with how to read this. The card itself, I think, implies that eventually this will lead to a massive collapse of the world as we know it. The tower itself is a dismantling. The tower dismantles. It's bringing down, in many ways, the system, or just massive change that is going to forever change what we know so far. It's not the end necessarily of these rings. Things are just changing so heavily. That might be why Diddy's even being considered for a pardon, when that was sort of like no one would ever assume that until it's all of a sudden proposed, and then it's like, oh, all of the pieces start adding up. Well, Thank you for watching.
That's right.